Alright guys, we are back today, this time with a vlog. And today I wanted to talk about how I became vegan and why everybody should be vegan. It's ultimately for the animals. That's the reason why anybody should go vegan. There's not any other reason. It's just for the animals, and there's no reason any animals should be enslaved, slaughtered, killed by the billions needlessly. And it's just something that we don't have to do, so why would we be doing it? Yes, we've been doing it a long time, and you know, there's a million excuses people make, and I'm not gonna go against all of them in this video, but you know, think about it. If you aren't vegan, just think about it. Think about it a little more. Don't just dismiss it. You know, I've spent over a decade making the decision to go vegan, so it's not just something that should just be dismissed right away, I'll tell you that much. So I'm on my way to go do some workouts at the park, but I wanted to tell you my story about why I decided to go vegan. And it's pretty interesting if you stick around. I know a lot of people don't have the attention span for stories these days, but take a listen, perhaps. So the beginning of my vegan story starts in preschool, and just with a little memory that I have. And I remember that it was around my first days of preschool, and I was pretty fascinated by everything, of course, being a little kid. And I saw a snail, and this snail was just so fascinating and so cool to me. I had never seen like another creature in the world other than like my cats I had, but I had never seen another creature. And it just blew me away just seeing it. I'm like, this thing's alive, looks like an alien. It just was so cool. I was like, that is just awesome that is a part of life and that it's out here living. And then shortly after that, I showed another kid because I just wanted to show him this creature because I was completely enthralled. And what does this other kid do? He steps on the snail. And when I saw this kid step on this snail, that pretty much shattered my reality about what I knew of this world. Up until then, everything seemed like this was a cool world I was born into, and then I saw that and I'm like, oh man, this is a tough world. I already had, like most kids, the conception of what veganism was in a way because I cared about animals. I didn't want to harm them. You know, not every kid has that, but most kids aren't purposely going out of their way to harm animals. Even if some kid steps on a snail, you know, he probably doesn't have any idea of what that life could be about or, you know, anything like that. In any case, that was kind of the beginning of my vegan journey in a way. And then I didn't think about that too much until I do remember at one point, you know, I asked my mom about it, and she was telling me that, oh yeah, you know, hamburgers are from Germany, from Hamburg. And I was like, well, how are they made? And she told me something to the effect of, oh, their animals are treated really nicely, and then they just kindly kill them, something like that. But at the time I was like, oh, okay, well, everyone I know seems like a good person, all my relatives and stuff, so this just must be how things are on this Earth planet. And years, decades pass. I never thought about it that much. Maybe a few times, but not really that much. And then when I was in college, finally, I have a friend. He's one of my best friends now. We were talking at the dining commons, and we were just eating like usual. Now he told me, hey man, I'm not eating any meat. Basically he was vegetarian, and And I think I'd heard of vegetarianism. I've never heard of veganism at that point. And he told me that, yeah, he was just eating plants, and I was like, how come? And he's like, oh, I don't know, man. So at that time I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I don't know if he said anything about animal rights, but I later found out that was something he had thought about. I actually tried it with him for a month. I was just curious how it would make me feel, and I felt fine. So this friend of mine, I would work out at the gym with him. I would always, sometimes give him a little shit for being vegetarian. And then, he's lighter than me, and he's also, shorter than me and a little skinnier and stuff, but he was always keeping up with me, even though I was eating meat. And I was like, what? Why is this happening? I don't understand. And I'm like, maybe vegetarians aren't weak, I guess. So I made the realization, just because you're vegetarian doesn't mean you're going to be weak or something. Obviously now I know you get plenty of protein, no problem, but at the time I didn't know. And so my friend was strong as hell, eating vegetarian. So, I thought about it, and after a while I started realizing, like, I always liked cows. They're just really nice creatures. I've seen some on the side of the road when I was on road trips and went up to them, and they're just super chill. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stop eating red meat. It's probably not good for you anyway, and cows are just the chillest creatures on earth. They don't deserve that. I think the main reason that I wasn't even vegetarian yet was because I didn't think that one person could really make a difference at all. And then I realized the only way we can make a difference at all is one person at a time. It's a drop in the bucket. You can't become more than one person, so the only way you're going to make a difference is as one person. And hopefully you'll influence others to do better. So I stopped eating red meat for about, I'd say like 6 or 7 months. Then I was camping once, super big dilemma because there was no food, and I ate a steak. I did not want to. I kept fighting it and telling him, no, I don't want to have it, but there's no other food, so I had some. And then I kind of started eating meat again for a little while, a few months. I was like, f it, I don't care. But eventually, not too long after, I'm like, I'm gonna stop eating red meat again. I still like cows, what the hell am I doing? And I did. I felt better not eating red meat too. I feel like red meat is the worst meat that you could have for you. It just inflames you, makes you bloated. It's not good. It is a group 2A carcinogen, I believe. That's classified by I think it's the World Health Organization. So yeah, it's not good, and I'm glad I got rid of it. After that just set the ball rolling, and I pretty much eliminated all meat other than chicken. For chicken, it was like, I kind of justified it to myself. I said, oh yeah, well, chickens, birds are descended from dinosaurs and whatever. Who cares about some stupid dinosaurs? Dinosaurs were killing everything and they didn't care, so I can eat chickens, whatever. But I knew in the back of my mind that was just not reality. It's very similar sounding to other carnist type excuses you'll hear, and in that it's pretty stupid. Obviously the chickens that are here have nothing to do with the dinosaurs or what they did or just anything to that effect. So at that point I had given up red meat for about a year, and then it was in 2013, right before my birthday at the time. I'd been working bicycle security at this outside mall, and I had a lot of time to think about things for myself and just think about life and think about what I wanted with things. I realized I didn't want to support this needless killing at all, and I'm like, why the hell am I still doing this? Why am I supporting this? You know, ultimately I was like, look, I work at the security job. There's a Whole Foods nearby, and I just need to try to make this work. It shouldn't be that hard. If I'm gonna be able to do it at any time, I'm gonna do it right now. So I actually remember the day I was walking and I was telling myself, okay, so when am I gonna do this? And I'm like, I'm gonna start right now. If I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it. And I remember the last thing I ate with meat in it, actually, and it was a nasty TV dinner with some chicken in it, which probably set me up well to not want meat anymore, because it was just like rubbery chicken, which really, all chicken is kind of rubbery and not really that great if you really actually think about what you're eating. But yeah, so in any case, at that point I went vegetarian, you know, and I told my friend who was vegetarian too, and he thought it was great. And, you know, I used to tease him too when he was having like a tofu bowl at this Teriyaki Madness place, and I was having the chicken bowl, and I was like, oh man, you know, you want some of this? And he's like, no man, I don't. And I'm like, I couldn't believe that. I'm like, yeah, of course he does, but no, he probably didn't. I wouldn't want that now. I'd way rather have the tofu bowl, but you know, even if I did want the chicken bowl, I would much rather not kill the chicken. When I was working at the outside mall, it also helped me go vegan because, man, there was these like little things, little garbage compactors outside of all of the little shops, all the restaurants. They were just filled with like old meat and grease and stuff. I don't know what they do with that. I guess recycle it in some way. And it smelled absolutely disgusting. And it definitely turned me off to meat even more. And I really didn't even want any meat products after about 6 months to a year of eating vegetarian. It's very easy to not have meat. Eggs and cheese were a little harder to give up, but meat, I mean, you don't really need to be putting corpses into your body. It doesn't make sense that you'd have to do that. So, but some people like it and need it, or feel like they need it, but they don't need it, most likely. If anybody does need it, say eat as little animals as possible. You know, you shouldn't be eating any, ideally. If you think you need it, just minimize as much as humanly possible, and hopefully eventually you never have to eat another animal again if you can get your gut health in order and all of that. So I was vegetarian for 3 years, and I really didn't even know what veganism was. I heard of it at that point, maybe like once or twice. And I was like, okay, well, these are just some other people who are taking it to extreme. But just because they're taking it to an extreme doesn't mean I have to. Like, I think that dairy and eggs and stuff, well, they don't have to kill the animals, right? So I don't need to not eat those. But then I eventually had another friend when I worked at a juice bar, fancy organic juice bar, and he informed me how all of the baby chicks are ground up, thrown in blenders, ground up, which is absolutely terrifying and mortifying and just disgusting. And he also informed me how, like, dairy cows, they only live 1/4 their normal lifespan in dairy farms because they're milked and impregnated over and over until they die and their calves are taken away, and a lot of really bad stuff. And I'm like, I can't support this. I gotta at least try going vegan, right? So ultimately I did try going vegan, clearly, and it wasn't that hard. I guess you could say I missed cheese a bit for about, I'd say, a year. Missed cheese. 6 months I missed eggs. And then after about a year and a half, I really didn't want any of them anymore. And the thought of them it's kind of nasty now, to be honest. And some really good vegan cheeses. Violife is really damn good. Also, for eggs, they have Just Egg, which is also really good. Some people wonder why vegans eat these pseudo animal products. It's like, we don't want to kill the animals. We have no problem with flavors. We have a problem with animals being killed. So we're gonna do whatever we have to avoid that. And other than that, we don't care what flavors you eat. I went vegan, feel better than ever. I train mixed martial arts, work out hard. No detriments, lots of benefits. My cardio definitely went up. Felt less bloated, less inflamed, younger, just better overall. So it's like, why am I gonna support the needless killing of animals? And what, I'm gonna feel terrible health-wise? Like, it doesn't make sense on any level. But even if I did feel terrible health-wise, I still wouldn't want to kill the animals, and I would do my very best to try to avoid it no matter what. So that's my story. Hope you found it interesting. And if you're not vegan, I hope you go vegan. And if you are vegan, I hope you stay vegan.